Hey, everybody, real quick, if you need a recap of part 1, I've got you covered. Just hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner. It'll take you right to it. In episode 6, Dijkstra is real proud of himself for getting the jump on Geralt. He tells him, though, that he's kind of just taking him prisoner until they're done rounding up the mages that they want. And that's what Dijkstra's soldiers are doing. They're rounding up a bunch of mages. Now, some mages have actually joined them in this, but one of them is not Yennefer. She covertly sneaks out of the room and sees Geralt's sword and realizes that something is wrong with their little plan. Using her magic, she's able to hide from the soldiers, but also speak to Ciri and wake her up, because she knows that all of this has been orchestrated, not just to round up mages, but also to get Ciri. And getting Ciri was supposed to be Radoviv's job. It's one of the whole reasons he slept with Jaskier, but Jaskier catches him early in the morning trying to get to Ciri, and he confronts him about it. He's pissed off that he was used. Radovid makes this play to Jaskier that this is the best thing for Ciri and for the continent, but also that he actually had true feelings for him, and Jaskier tells him to kick rocks. Either way, Radovid ain't leaving with Ciri. Ciri's already escaped. And so is Yennefer. She's out to find Ciri and protect her. While trying to sneak out of Aretuza, though, she does run into Lydia, who, just like Dijkstra, is real arrogant and pompous about the whole situation. She starts telepathically speaking to Yen, telling her that what she's trying to do is pointless. It's too late. They're going to have the girl. Lydia is also not going to allow Yennefer to just walk out. She starts attacking Yen, and she is really powerful. Yen is only saved when Marigold shows up and kills Lydia. Yennefer, though, is going on this one alone. Marigold heads up to help with the coup. And it should be pretty easy for Marigold to find the location of all of the mages that are chained up, because Dijkstra and company have put them all in one room. As Geralt walks in and sees what's upon him, he asks Dijkstra why are they being chained up, and Dijkstra says, well, they're spies, weakening us for Nilfgaard's march of conquest. They're not all traitors, though, just Vilgefortz and his cronies, but the rest are going to bear witness to what we do to them. And what you've got is all of these mages chained up, and when they're chained up, they can't use their powers. Dijkstra goes on to tell Geralt that they have ample evidence regarding Vilgefortz's connection with Nilfgaard. But they're not looking to hold a trial, they're looking to hold a purge. Now, one mage who is not bound in chains is Tissaia. She was supposed to be, but the two that came for her, Tissaia told them that she'd melt their faces if they do that to her. So her hands are free. And when she walks in the room, she sees all of her fellow mages chained up, and they're all begging her to unbound these chains using her powers. But Dijkstra tells Tissaia exactly what he told Geralt, that they have proof of Vilgefortz using portals to connect Aretuza with Nilfgaard. You've got people like Arturus who just flat out do not believe that, but Dijkstra's group tells the entire room that they know Vilgefortz has had Rience doing his dirty work. Vilgefortz, though, tries to deflect. He says that Dijkstra and Philippa should be on trial. But Geralt speaks up and says, well, there is credence to what they're saying. You did know this was coming. You mentioned it yesterday. Geralt, though, then notices that there is a fog coming in. It's pretty unnatural, and he tells the group that someone is using it to conceal ships. Vilgefortz then pleads to Tissaia, saying, don't you see it's a Redanian army? They're coming for us. He starts begging Tissaia to break this binding spell and allow them to use their magic to defend Aretuza. And after a little more pleading, she finally does it, and the mages start attacking their captors. While all the fighting is going on, Dijkstra tries to sneak out, but Geralt isn't letting him walk out the door. Dijkstra tells Geralt it's too late. You know what? I'll just tell you where we've taken her. Because at this point, Dijkstra is convinced that Redania has Ciri, but they don't. Geralt decides to respond by attacking him, breaking his leg, messing him up pretty good, and then leaving him there crying on the floor. He then heads off to go find Ciri and protect her. Don't feel too bad for Dijkstra, by the way. He gets saved by Philippa, and she gets him out of harm's way. But back where he just came from, the mages make quick work of their captors. Now they just have to deal with this Redanian army that's coming. Tissaia sees Vilgefortz leave the room, and she chases after him, saying, we can take the Redanians out if we just unite and trap them in the tunnels. That's when Vilgefortz comes clean. He tells her that's not going to happen. The Scoia'tael will enter this place and burn it to the ground in the name of the White Flame. And it's at that moment that Tissaia realizes she's been played this entire time. She asks Vilgefortz, why would you do this? This is our home. And he corrects her and says, no, this is your home. I don't care who destroys this place. I have my own goals, and they no longer include you. Stregobor, with his pride, he was easy to set up, and you've got your undying trust. You were easy to fool. He then turns around and, using his powers, he gives the Redanian army the gateway they would need to enter Aretuza. But when the army does enter, it's not Redanian, it's Elven, which is something that Vilgefortz had planned on. He knew the entire time that the Redanian army wasn't coming through that portal. It's Francesca and Filavandrel and all of them. They're ready to take back what they feel like is theirs, but Tissaia and the rest of the mages are ready to defend it at all costs. This starts a pretty big war between the two factions. Filavandrel, R.I.P., he perishes. That really messes up Francesca. Arturus, though, also dies. He dies, though, at the hand of his niece, because Frangilla is back and she's helping the elves. Those are the two big losses. Most of the soldiers, though, die when this ring of fire ends up falling out of the sky that was put up there by Philippa and brought down by Francesca. So Aretuza's not doing so well. It's pretty much up in smoke. You can see it from pretty far away. But Ciri, she doesn't notice it because she finally finds Yennefer, and that's all she cares about. They, however, are attacked by Rience. Ciri goes after Rience, but it doesn't take too long for him to surround her in a ring of fire. Yennefer isn't worried at first because he says, you're not going to kill her. Your master wants her alive. But Rience says, I have no master. And that's when Yennefer is forced to pivot. She does have an ace up her sleeve. She acts like she's putting down her weapon, which is her sword, but she throws it, and it's caught by Geralt, who cuts Rience's head off. And now the trio is reunited. Geralt tells Yennefer that she was right. Vilgefortz is at the center of all of this. He brought Nilfgaard and the Scoia'tael, and they're all searching for one person, and it's Ciri. Because of it, he says, we need to get off this island. But then Yennefer notices the smoke that is coming from Aretuza, and she knows that Tissaia is in danger. She can see from the sky that Tissaia is summoning Alzur's Thunder, which is the spell of the last resort. She knows that Tissaia and the rest of the mages are in danger. Ciri turns to Yennefer and says, go to her. We'll be okay. Help your friend. When Yennefer finally does arrive back in Aretuza, it's at the last stand stage of this battle, and the elves are winning. The mages are completely outnumbered. Yennefer is ready to defend Aretuza, but she gets a little bit of help from Stregobor, of all people. He promises to take on the entire elven army in order to buy Yennefer and the other mages some time to escape, because Aretuza is crumbling. Outside, Ciri and Geralt are also trying to figure out a way off the island. They then hear a horse in the distance, and it's Cahir. As soon as she sees him, Ciri wants to kill this guy. She has vengeance on her mind, and she attacks him, but all Cahir does is defend himself. He doesn't really attack back. He finally throws his sword down and says, I'm not going to fight you. Back in Cintra, when I took you, I did everything I was asked with no hesitation. But now, I can't stop asking questions. I've discovered that I was wrong, and I can't give you back the life I stole. But I can offer you my life. So take it. But as Ciri is contemplating her move, they hear horses in the distance, and it's the Scoia'tael, that sort of elven mercenary group. They're coming for Ciri. When he sees them in the distance, Cahir jumps up and says, go, I will find you. Because he's going to hold them off and hopefully allow Ciri and Geralt to escape. They head down to the boats that the elves use to get into Aretuza, but right before they're about to leave, Geralt senses that they're not alone. He turns to Ciri and says, go, run away, I'll take care of this. And he's right, they're not. Vilgefortz is down there as well. After opening up the portal for the elves, he headed to Tissaia's room where he found Istredd with the book. He didn't kill Istredd or take it from him. Instead, he pushed him through a portal where he knows that he can find him again. He then realized that some people might want to escape, that person being Cirilla, so he headed down to the only place where she would be able to, the beach. Standing in his way, though, is Geralt. And Geralt's a really formidable opponent, but Vilgefortz, he's got magic on his side, he's well-trained, and he beats the ever-loving crap out of Geralt. With Geralt badly injured, Vilgefortz doesn't finish him off. Instead, he heads to go find Ciri, and he knows where she's going. She's going to Tor Lara. It's that giant tower next to Aretuza that's used as a sort of lightning conductor. Sure enough, Ciri is indeed there, but when he comes across her, she's talking to the wall. Ciri's getting some kind of message from it. She's seeing symbols, but she doesn't know what it means. Vilgefortz tells Cirilla, "You're not ready for this kind of power." But Cirilla seems to be tuning him out. The power from this wall, it's getting stronger. Until finally, it seems to explode, throwing Vilgefortz way back. But there's a visual explosion from the tower that can be seen. It can be seen by the elves, who are badly beaten. It can also be seen by the mages, which include Yennefer and an exhausted Tissaia. They watch as it crumbles to the ground. And as for Geralt, he's on death's door, but he's saved by Marigold. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.